Hey everybody, welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. It's 8:30 and I have my trusted co-host, Wednesday the Goth Pug, and her best pal, the fucking Stingray. She's all wound up today, guys, so be prepared because I don't know what's going on with Wednesday today, but she is awake and ready to party. Oh yeah, there she goes. What's going on, Billy? Hey, Kristen. Hey, Annie Jean. Mark Bishop, Blueberry Cobbler. What's up, Brandon? Oh, she wants to play. Elsa says hello, Wednesday. What's going on, Trisha? Hey, Bob. It's Saturday night. It's 8:30. She is kicking a Stingray's ass here in the War Room. Joe says, hey, Carrie and Wednesday. Everybody says hi, Wednesday. Do you want to say hi? Do you want to say hi? Do you want to say hello today? So how are you guys holding up today? Very exciting day around here. I had some bark mulch delivered today so that I can do some work around the house and mulch some of the gardens that I never had a chance or time to do when I was constantly working at the radio station. And the giant truck that brought the bark mulch got stuck in the yard because of the rain that we had and the mud. So then the dump truck had to get a tow truck and tow them out of the yard. And I also have been cleaning up the yard, picking up branches and stuff. Wednesday, are you leaving? Are you done? You don't want to come, you want to come back? Come on. Okay. Oh. And so I got a permit to burn all of the stuff. And the neighbors thought it was hilarious that I was burning stuff out of my yard with a t-shirt on that said, I do all my own stunts. So that was like basically all the excitement around here besides this knucklehead today. She is into it. It is Saturday night. She is into it. Yes, I'm mulching some of my like flower gardens and stuff. Who asked me about the mulch? Eric. Yeah, I'm trying to, there are a bunch of gardens in my yard that, they're like flower gardens and stuff that were really beautiful, like long before I bought my house. And the woman that I bought the house from kind of let some of them go. And now I'm trying to bring them back. And so I ordered a crap ton of bark mulch, and I am going to be working on. Really? What? You just going to sit there? Like, are you going to be like a gremlin? What? Don't worry about it. I'm just over here talking to some people. What? They don't want to see your butthole, Wednesday. Turn around. They want to see your cute face, not your ass, right? I'm assuming there's nobody here. Although you guys have been stuck in the house so long, who knows? Maybe you do want to see pug ass, but I would say against it. Where did the Stingray go? There it is. There comes the crinkling. So I ordered all this. Oh, she just took it in the other room. She's gone now. She's probably gonna take a nap. That was all the excitement she needed. But the truck got stuck in the yard, so it was like, you're going to mulch with those nails? Yeah, I wear gloves. I wear gloves when I do almost everything. I wear gloves when I ride my motorcycle. I wear gloves when I skydive. I wear gloves when I garden. Not a big deal. Shane says my dog woke up when you squeezed your toy. So that was about all the excitement that I had around here today. But I did save a lot of those branches and stuff that I had picked up from the yard for the cantina picture, like the fire pit out back that I showed you guys. So Bob says, sit, Ubu, sit. And I'm a little tired just from doing a lot of work outside, but I told you guys last night that I was going to take advantage of the nice weather and go out and work in the yard and be in the sun. And Jared said, I was in a parade for a kid with autism who had a birthday, and it was awesome. I love these birthday parades, and I feel like after this lockdown thing, the social distancing, like whatever is over, that's something that needs to stay. is people decorating their cars and driving by somebody whose birthday it is, whether it's a grandmother or a little kid. Oh, Sheila. Sheila says, can you say a prayer for my grandma who passed away today? Sheila, I am so sorry. Just know that you got a whole group of support, a whole network right here for you. So I am so sorry. We talk about it every night, just how hard it is to lose somebody at this time, because the mourning process and all of the rituals that follow a death, the wake, the meal, the funeral, all of that, you just don't get to do them the way that you would like, and the community doesn't get to come out, and you don't get to hear all of the amazing things that people you didn't even know your grandma knew were going to tell you, and all of the stories, and it's like you miss out on that whole part of the grieving process. And so we're all here for you, and I'm really sorry. Melissa says, today is my sister Heather's birthday. Well, if we're looking for someone to toast, we will toast to Sheila's grandma, and we will toast to Heather on her birthday. If you are celebrating a birthday today, you celebrate it with Eric Avery from Jane's Addiction and the great Ella Fitzgerald. So happy birthday, guys. Cheers. Yes, it's more copper mug goodness. The guys from Reed sent me like a case of ginger beer. I have to use it. It would be impolite not to. So William says, today would have been my grandmother's 98th birthday, and if she hadn't passed a few months ago. Yeah, see, you guys are awesome, sending all of the love to Sheila. Like, that's fantastic. It's not the same as obviously being able to have traditional services, but just to know that you've got all of us, I hope that helps. So for me today, I had to do everything I could to try and take my mind off of what today would have been. Today, obviously, is the 25th of April. And so today would have been the WAF Big Gig. And I had such huge plans for the Big Gig. When we made the announcement in November, it was going to be this unbelievable party. We were going to celebrate WAF's 50th anniversary this whole year. The Big Gig was close to selling out when we went off the air, and obviously it's been postponed to April 24th of 2021. But it feels different now that WAF isn't on the air anymore. And so tonight, I had friends that were going to be traveling from around the country. We were going to be broadcasting all day. We were going to have a pre-party. We were going to have a red carpet. We were talking about all getting dressed up and, hosting it like the Academy Awards. Like, I was joking, like what kind of vest and like cummerbund Mike Shue should have on the tuxedo. And, there were going to be like pre-party acoustic performances. Once we got it announced, it was kind of my job as the assistant program director to start working on the surprises. And so I started calling in favors from some of your favorite artists that were going to make cameo appearances. And now, because it's a year away and we don't know how long all of the touring bands are going to be shut down this year, and we don't know how these tours are going to get rerouted. I mean, we know Godsmack and Hailstorm have committed to playing the DCU Center next April 24th, 2021. However, Theory of a Dead Man and Dirty Honey and Dinosaur Pileup, those bands are trying to figure out exactly where they're going to be and what their tours are going to look like. And so we don't know exactly, what the lineup is going to be, but it's going to be a blast, and it's going to be a celebration of WAF's 50 years. Like, that's already, Mike Shue and I have already committed to being there. It just sucks that we have to wait a whole year. And so kind of all day today, I was out in the yard, and even though it was beautiful and sunny and I was being super productive and I had Wednesday running around the yard, it just bummed me out that the weather's so beautiful and that we should have been, and Eric says in the after party as well at the Palladium, with New Year's Day, like, it just bummed me out that today was Big Gig Day. And it was going to be awesome. So that is why I'm just wearing my AAF hoodie tonight. No retro t-shirts. No, I just wanted to wear my AAF hoodie because I get sentimental about stuff. And this was one of those days that I've just been looking forward to since we announced it in November. But we had started talking about our 50th anniversary like in the middle of last year and talking about having a big show and, whatever. So I'm a little bit sad today because the show didn't happen. But obviously, we just talked about Sheila, who lost her grandmother today. So it's like, trust me, my priorities are in check. But the grieving process of the radio station for me, having been there for 29 years, has kind of been stunted as well. Like, I was really looking forward to the big gig as like some kind of AAF closure for me, and not being able to do that just kind of bums me out a little bit. So Mark says I got an AAF shirt on eBay. Eric says, it's your right. No tears, Carrie. You got this. I'm not going to cry tonight. I'm good. You guys have seen me cry a couple times, but I'm not going to cry tonight. So, but I'm just kind of bummed out that we're not all at the big gig right now, like partying and having a blast. And Carol says, I keep losing you. Are you guys all losing me, or are we good? Leo wants to know why AF was sold. Well, only 107.3, the frequency, was sold. I know that I've talked about this before, but there are people that kind of missed all of the explanations. The company sold the signal. They didn't sell WAF as a brand. They still own the intellectual property. They still own the logo. And WAF as the music continues on like WAF.com and like the radio.com app and on their HD channels. But when they got rid of the FM signal and they sold it, obviously the staff went with it. And that's why we're not on the air anymore. So WAF technically still exists as a brand, but 107.3 is now the Christian music, which I just find my happy place, and here's what bums me out about radio in general and about the way that things have gone, and especially with a station like K-Love, which took over 107.3. The FCC and the licensing for a signal, the whole reason that you need a license is because the people, you and me and everyone else, own the airwaves that are above us. And so in order to broadcast on the people's airwaves, then you have to have a license. And part of the licensing was to prove that whoever was broadcasting on the people's airwaves was actually servicing the community. And so that's why we would keep like a public file of all of the good things that we did. We would have to file a quarterly report with all of the charity work that we did and how much money we raised. And then obviously if anybody ever complained about, our language or us being too risque or whatever, all of that got put in what they call a public file, so that when your license came up for renewal, they would look at the pros and the cons to see how good of a job you were doing with the public's airwaves. The problem with the way that something like K-Love works is that they have signals all around the country, but they just simulcast the same stuff that comes out of their studio, which I believe is in California. So take right now, for example. Right now, if WAAF were on the air on 107.3 and the air staff was there, you know that we would be using the public's airwaves and the signal to raise money, coordinate volunteerism, that we'd obviously be trying to help you through your day if you're an essential worker and take your mind off of being home with the kids. And you know how we did things when things were crazy after the marathon bombing, storms, 9/11, whatever it was. We were there to entertain you, but we were also there to do good. And so part of the thing that bums me out is that when you have a company that owns a bunch of signals all around the country and they broadcast the same stuff, say out of California, first of all, it's impossible for them to serve the local community because they're pumping out the same stuff. And second of all, they don't really have local employees, which means the local employees aren't making money and then spending it in the community and helping with local advertisers and their paychecks going back into the economy. They're really not influencing the community that they're licensed in, which to me is fucked up, because that's the whole point of you having a license in the first place, which is the benefit of being on the internet and being able to stream, is that A, you can say whatever you want, and B, you're in total control over what you do, whether you take advertising or not. Like, there aren't as many rules. So when a company, and especially because it's Christian broadcasting, which I could be wrong, but from what I've heard, people say, oh, they're not going to get any ratings. Nobody listens to that shit. Well, if they're not worried about ratings because, say, their money comes from a nonprofit or comes from a religion that doesn't pay taxes anyway, then they're not really worried about ratings to make revenue. They're worried about getting their message out. And not only are they worried about getting their message out, but that company seems to get off on taking rock stations off the air because it's the devil's music, because we're not the first rock station that they've taken off the air. So not only are they going after rock music and an art form that we all enjoy, but they're not operating under the same set of rules and expectations and whatever that a commercial radio station like us would, where we would need to get ratings to be able to charge money, to be able to bring in advertising, to be able to pay the bills and pay the staff and pay for the crazy contests and the t-shirts and like all of the other stuff. So now you've got a company broadcasting out of California that's not doing any good. I mean, I haven't listened to them, so I don't know if they're doing any local charity work, but as far as I know, all of the stations on this Christian network all pump out the same stuff. So how are they maintaining their FCC license when they're not affecting the community locally, which is where they're fucking licensed? That's what pisses me off, is that for 50 years, WAAF had to, be careful about what we said and make sure that we didn't do the charity work because we needed to get the credit in our public file. We did it because we believed in it, and we all grew up here and are part of the community and wanted to be, Lori says, why isn't that being looked into? I don't know. I'm just curious. Maybe it's because there's so much money, and I'm sure, when you're taking tax-deductible religious contributions, you've got plenty of lawyers that are willing to bury anyone that actually asks the questions. I just don't understand how you can maintain an FCC license on a station that doesn't represent the community. I mean, are they running, 1 hour of locally programmed stuff a week? And that's how they get to, that's the minimum requirement? I don't know the answers to these questions. And because I refuse to listen to them, I can't say with 100% certainty that they're not doing anything, but I just doubt it. And that's what bums me out about radio in general right now. Rolling Stone, who I don't like to sing the praises of very often, wrote a really amazing article, I think last week. 15 different people that I know sent it to me. And it's all about how right now, with the coronavirus and people being locked in their houses and the social distancing and all of that, the one medium that is custom built to thrive in a moment like this is local radio, where you could be helping local businesses and helping people in your community that are in need and helping to coordinate resources for your local hospitals. And for some reason, radio as a genre, now there are stations that are doing great work, but as a medium, they're failing. And that's what this whole, somebody find the Rolling Stone article about radio and the coronavirus. It's a very recent article, and post it in these comments so that you guys can check it out, because it's breaking my heart watching something that I love so much and still fully believe in. People are like, terrestrial radio's dead and blah, blah, blah. But it's times like this right now that this is why it's necessary to bring a community together and be able to coordinate resources and to be able to help and entertain the people in your local community. And the fact that that's not the priority for a lot of companies, especially the one that bought our signal, just bums me out. And it's breaking my heart that, like, right now, I mean, I tell you guys all the time, it sucks that I'm not on the air. And the fact that we get to hang out in the War Room every night, it's not the same, but it's great because I get the same feeling that we're all connected and, you know, that we're at least a community amongst ourselves. But it bums me out that we're not doing it on a bigger scale on the airwaves of 107.3 like I know we would have if we were in the studio working together as a staff the way that we were even a year ago. And so today with the big gig and obviously being locked in the house and everything, I'm a little bit sentimental, not just about WAF, but also about, you know, just radio in general and how much I still have a passion for it. And the passion is because it's so local and so active in the community. And so I'm kind of bummed that we're not at the big gig right now. So cheers to all of you guys that had tickets. Cheers to everybody that still has their tickets. And at the very least, we'll see you April 24th of 2021 at the DCU Center when it is no longer a field hospital. Which I can't believe. Like, we would have been at the DCU Center right now, and right now it's a hospital. It's just insane to me. But I don't want to bring everybody down. So I do want to talk to you guys. Speaking of doing good work, I'm a firm believer that people, when they fuck up, take blame. But when people do good work, that they get praised for it. And it's not that they're not doing it because of the praise, but they deserve it. So last night we were talking about Post Malone and how he did the fundraiser for the World Health Organization, playing all of the Nirvana songs. So Travis Barker played drums for him. If you haven't seen it yet, the link is everywhere. It's up on YouTube. First of all, I have to give Post Malone credit. He did a really good job. He sounded good. He played guitar really well. They did the songs justice. And they raised, as of late last night, $2.5 million to help with coronavirus relief. So there's an example of somebody that literally put a band together, and they were all in like different rooms of the house, socially distancing, like playing all the Nirvana hits and fan favorites and all of that. And as of last night, they raised $2.5 million. I'm sure they've raised more than that. So, you know what? Good on you, Post Malone, because that's amazing. And like I said, he did a really good job. So I can't really bust his balls about it. I know that he's a rock guy in his soul. It's just that I can't kind of handle his non-rock stuff, but whatever. But he did a really good job. Another way that is being... bands are being charitable. The Black Sabbath crew are selling Black Sabbath cloth masks, and the money is going to coronavirus, COVID-19 charity as well. And you can get the Black Sabbath masks at wegotYouCoveredNow.com. So if you want to check those out, wegotYouCoveredNow.com. And I believe Ozzy also is selling like a t-shirt, and you get a free mask, or you buy the mask and you get a free t-shirt or something like that. So I just thought that was really cool. Something else that you guys, if you are around the city, if you're living in the city, there is a new law in place that says that Boston restaurants can now sell groceries, because a lot of people are wondering why it is that there are farmers that are destroying crops and there are food shortages in places when none of the restaurants are open. And so people are like, well, where would all of the food be that would be getting sold to the restaurants? And there's different distribution chains. So a farmer that is selling corn that gets canned in cans that we would buy at the supermarket sends the corn this way, whereas the corn that would go in the big number 10 cans that would go to a restaurant goes that way in a distribution route. And so there are a lot of places where there's nothing in the supermarkets, but all of that restaurant food that's packaged differently is frozen somewhere in stockpiles and warehouses at restaurant supply places. So by passing this law, it helps the restaurant supply places because they can now supply food to the restaurants, and instead of making meals for you and selling you the meals, the restaurants can now sell you the supplies themselves, which they could not do before, but they can do now. Eric says Ozzy's masks say fuck coronavirus. There you go. I knew Ozzy was selling masks. That's very cool. So it opens up another food distribution route because you can now go to restaurants and you can buy groceries. And you might be able to get access to different ingredients that you wouldn't be able to get if you were just shopping at the supermarket. I know restaurants have supply places where they buy a shit ton of toilet paper, pardon the pun. So now you can go into certain restaurants and you can buy supplies. Hey, Joe! I wish we were doing something very different right now. Say hi to the OG for me. Cheers. Some of the amazing people, including Joe, our program director, is watching right now. Joe, I know you just signed on, but we were just talking about how we would all much rather be at the DCU Center at the Big Gig right now than hanging out in our homes, not at the Big Gig. And that the DCU Center is a hospital right now, which is just crazy. Also, I want to say congratulations to the guys from Papa Roach, who we've been with since the beginning. Their album Infest turns 20 today. So cheers to the guys from Papa Roach. Happy anniversary. Just to blow your mind a little bit and make you feel fucking old, that means that in 5 years, Papa Roach is eligible for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And also in 5 years, that album and those songs become classic rock. I'm just going to sit here and drink at the notion of Last Resort being classic rock. Hold, please. Yeah. Whoa! Totally crazy. So, just some numbers to run down. Obviously, I know that you don't want to dwell on this stuff, but I feel like I want to give you some updated numbers in case you haven't been around the news today. As far as the coronavirus goes in Massachusetts, there are 50,969 cases. There have been 2,556 deaths at last count. In the United States, there have been 53,391 deaths. And as of the last time I checked the numbers today, the United States has a total of 933,050 confirmed cases. New York has 282,143 of those cases just in New York, which is just crazy. So the fact that we are now up over 53,000 deaths, and it's not even the end of April, we were kind of all hoping that the numbers weren't going to reach 100,000 as the minimum casualty numbers because people have been doing so much social distancing. But the way that these cases keep stacking up, it's like, I don't know, the numbers are just staggering. So obviously, if you're getting aggravated and tired of being locked in the house and frustrated that you're not back at work, trust me, there's nobody that would like to go back to work more than me. I was laid off before all of the coronavirus layoffs, but it's making it virtually impossible for me to, go back to work, at least in the industry that I work in, because the whole entertainment industry is stopped. So I feel the pain of wanting to go back to work. Trust me, I really do. Amy says Worcester is a hot spot in Massachusetts right now. Melissa says it feels like there's no end. There is an end. There's an end in that they learn things about the virus every day. There's an end in that they tested, I think, 44,000 people in New York today, in 24 hours. So they are definitely learning about the testing. They have come up with faster tests, less invasive tests, more reliable and accurate tests. There is going to come a time where we get this thing on the ropes. The problem is the fatigue. It's like, if we're like Rocky Balboa, it's like, how many times does that crazy ass Russian get to punch us in the face before we finally come back and win the fight. And let's not forget, when he wins the fight, he's beat up and he's bloody, but he wins. And so it's kind of like that. It's like, you know, we're in the ring right now and we're taking our punches, but I have to look at it like, you know, the strategy in the long term. The experts are saying we are going to turn a corner. We're not going to come out of it unscathed. And obviously, you know, the world has been affected in a way that it's changed forever. But I have to have faith in the medical community and the scientists and the smartest people on the planet. People have spent their whole lives studying shit that I have zero interest in. Germs and infectious diseases. Like, I look at a guy like Anthony Fauci and I'm like, that guy has spent his entire life studying, training for this. This is his moment. And so I just have to look at people like that and go, sir, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, all of those people, let me just get out of your way and you do you, boo-boo. Let me just get out of your way, put on the Superman cape, and just do what you got to do. And so I have to look at people like that and go, I know that they are working so hard to, you know, to figure it out. Eric wants to know when we get the Lysol IV drips. Even the CDC had to send out tweets. And they said something like 18 people, like, were inhaling Lysol, like that there were like actually people like in New York that either tried it and got sick or like, it's just let me get out of the way of the scientists. Just listen to the scientists, listen to the fucking smart people, do what the smart people do. And then also Liz says using blood plasma treatments in Worcester with positive results. Like, they're going to figure it out. Lori says Mass General is amazing. I told you guys the other night, Mass General saved my life years ago. We have the best medical staff, the best hospitals. There was a great video that the Mass National Guard put up today that showed the precautions that the National Guard soldiers that have been activated in these hospitals, especially Boston Hope Hospital at the BCEC, and how these soldiers are dressing themselves in the safety equipment to go in and work in these hospitals. They're going to figure it out. And things are going to open back up again. And I know that it just sucks right now. And we just have to, every day, remind ourselves that it's another day. And we're just going to move forward and that it's going to be okay. We're going to figure it out. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. We're probably going to have some scars from it. But as we've discussed here in previous nights, scars are fucking cool. And they show that you've been through something. And nobody gets old without them. So we just need to take pride in these scars and learn lessons. I know that there are a lot of people that have learned now what's important in their lives, now that their lives are becoming smaller. They're stressing about fewer small things and focusing on the big things. They are focusing on quality time with their families. People are volunteering. People are going out of their way to help their neighbor. People are now learning, you know, how to be prepared or better prepared for things. Like, I know for me that I know I'm going to come out of this a better person, a more well-rounded person. I'm growing from this painful process in a lot of different ways. And I'm trying really hard, even though it's incredibly difficult, to see the good in this. Brenda says, I just feel so lazy hanging out at home. That's why I'm trying to do all of the things that I always said I don't have time to do around the house. You know, like, oh, if I wasn't so busy or if I didn't have this going on the weekends, I would have done that, which is why there's a giant pile of bark mulch in my yard. If all of our yards aren't immaculate and beautiful by the time we all get let out of the house, then we're just lazy pricks. Then we just have to face it, because at least we can take pride in our homes and maybe learn some new skills. There are people learning new languages. How many people have learned how to sew so they could sew masks, that are teaching their kids skills that their grandparents mastered, but maybe you didn't because you didn't think they were important, like cooking old family recipes or sewing or knitting or, you know, just doing things around the house. Like, I have to look at all of those things as life lessons that are positive and going, you know what, like we could come out of this with some really great stuff if we look at it that way. But then you get a comment like Penny that says a lot of people have anxiety and depression and it's going to get worse. And that's one of the reasons why I think things like this are so important, because you have to know that all of the feelings that you're feeling are normal. You know, you're not, if you're alone in your apartment right now and you're feeling sad and depressed and helpless and useless, you are not the only person that feels like that. Stephanie says, I'm making masks right now. Jen says, I had to learn how to dye my purple hair myself. See? You're not the only person that feels useless. You're not the only person that feels lonely or sad or any of that stuff. It's just, you got to be in a room full of other people that are willing to say it. You know, say it out loud. All of your feelings, Melissa says, are valid. They are healthy and normal. You feel vulnerable. You're worried about your finances. Trust me, I get that. You know, you're wondering if, you know, your job is going to be there if you've been furloughed and you go back. Is your company going to be structured the same way? You're worried about getting sick. You're worried. I mean, I saw a guy on the news the other day that was trying to figure out how to pay for food for his kids and his insulin at the same time. And then all of a sudden, all of these people donated so that he could help feed his kids and have insulin because his insulin is so expensive and he doesn't have health insurance anymore. They just turned it from something horrible to something amazing. And it was a bunch of people that were strangers that helped him. Brenda says, I'm cooking a lot and family is not complaining. Like, when's the last time you had this many meals around the dinner table? This is a time where, like, we can start new family traditions. Like, I have spent so much time FaceTiming my sister, and she only lives 45 minutes away, but we just don't get to see each other all the time. And now we FaceTime almost every day. I'm on a group chat and a group message with all of my cousins, and we're constantly swapping, you know, funny memes and checking in on everybody, which, by the way, you guys were asking about my cousin who had a really bad fall and had to have emergency surgery. He's now in a rehab facility, and he is learning how to maneuver with his arm in a giant cast and whatever before he can go home. So thank you guys for asking. He's doing okay. He made it through his surgery okay. But let's really, like Mr. Rogers said, you know, look for the helpers. Like, we need to find a way to look through all the fog and the clouds and the darkness of this whole thing. And I'm not saying ignore it, because it sucks. I'm just saying, if you're going to focus and dwell on stuff, try to dwell and focus on the good stuff as much as you can. That has helped me. But it's a struggle every day. The last couple days have kind of sucked for me. Bickering with people I love, separated by people that I can't see because they can't travel, you know, spending way too much time in my own head, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. So all of these things, I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm just trying to tell you what I'm doing to try and help myself. And I hope that maybe I could say something that you might go, oh, maybe I'll try that. You know, I've been spending so much quality time with Wednesday, and I know that she's loving it. We've been going on walks and playing in the yard and snuggling a lot. And I have figured out that my biological, like, clock, not Mona Lisa Vito biological clock, but I figured out that if I go to bed without setting an alarm, that I will naturally wake up at 9:30 in the morning. That's when I wake up. So if I don't have to set an alarm, I will get up at 9:30 in the morning. Who knew? Learn something new about myself. I love that you guys are virtually smoking joints together. You're like puff, puff, pass, puff, puff, pass. It's fantastic. The Church of Mistress Carrie has a good ring to it. Well, it would be great because then I could make money and wouldn't have to pay friggin' taxes. And the venue would be amazing. And the fucking band would rock. Maybe I'll look into that. Isn't that what L. Ron Hubbard said? All the money's in religion. Maybe I'll look at that. Maybe I'll start a church. That'll be my new gig. Jamie says, when do you go to bed? It depends. There are nights, especially when I do a lot of work in the yard, where I'm really tired and fall asleep before midnight. I will tell you guys that I fell asleep at 5 o'clock this morning and woke up at 9:30. I'm exhausted. I had the worst insomnia last night, thus the giant bags under my eyes. I couldn't sleep. I don't know what it was. I tossed and turned all night long. And I am not a person that usually battles insomnia. And I have had so much insomnia and so much disrupted, interrupted, unrestful sleep in the last month. And I know that it's your diurnal pattern. Is that right, Kathy? Did I say it right? I know that it's all the stress of all of this. And I'm trying my best to not be stressed out about it, but I know it's affecting me. So, yikes, I naturally wake up around 11:30 a.m. Must be nice, Brittany. Godsmack would be the house band in the church, Joe says. And the wine is sangria. No, Fernandez is sangria. Hell yeah. Mark says melatonin. I've tried it. It doesn't work the way that... Marcy says, I'll be officially divorced May 12th. I'm surprised that it's going to go through with all of the courthouses and stuff so disrupted. But so, you know, I know that it's hard, everybody. That's why I try not to focus on all of the numbers and all of that. But at the same time, it's those numbers. It's the positive test cases numbers. It's the fatalities. Those are the numbers that when they start to come down are going to be what leads us to opening everything back up. So we have to pay attention to them at some point. My artifact from the War Room tonight, I specifically chose because today would have been the WAF Big Gig. This is a flyer to join the WAF and help the RAF. This is it's a reproduction, obviously, but it is an old flyer to try and recruit women into the war. The Women's Auxiliary Air Force, the WAAF. The days have passed when women could only wait anxiously for the success of our forces. We can now all play a part in serving our country and earn as well as deserve the victory for which we are fighting. The Women's Auxiliary Air Force was formed to help the Royal Air Force. It is under the direct command of the RAF, and its object is to replace airmen by airwomen in certain ground appointments and trades. Day by day, the magnificent deeds of the RAF thrill our hearts. Will you join the WAF and work with the RAF to help win the war? This is the flyer. I had this poster, by the way, framed and hanging in my office at the WAF studio. Some conditions of service. On other pages, you will find particulars of some of the many WAF trades now open to you, meaning women. With few exceptions, the age limits for all trades are 17.5 to 43, or 50 in the case of ex-service women. The pay varies in different trades. During training, it is 1.8 a day. The rates of pay for trained airwomen are given under various trades. In each case, food, clothing, accommodation, and medical treatment are provided. The minimum height for recruits is 5 feet, except in the case of cooks who may be 4'10". All airwomen must pass a medical examination. They must enroll for the duration of the war and be prepared to serve anywhere in the United Kingdom or overseas. A woman who has been making a substantial contribution to a dependent relative can claim a dependence allowance. So I thought this was hilarious. And some of the jobs, this is the first one at the top. Radio operator. Interesting work for an intelligent, excuse me, let me sit up a little bit. I'm talking about the intelligent radio operators. Interesting work for an intelligent and well-educated woman. Self-reliant and not liable to be flustered. The pay is $2.6 a day, age 17 and a half to 35. Some of the other positions that were available to the WAAF during World War II: clerk, equipment assistant, the teleprinter operator, a fabric worker, a Morse slip reader, sparking plug tester, instrument mechanic, telephone operator, aircraft hand, cook, wireless operator, and sick quarter attendant. And so this is just one of the things. And then there's all of the recruiting stations where the WAAF could enroll and enlist. And places like Aberdeen. It's just so funny when you read places in England and they're all places in Massachusetts. Acton, Bedford, Bolton, Bradford, Brighton, Cambridge, Chatham. Let's see. Exeter, Gloucester, Hull, obviously all places in England as well. But so this is just a reproduction of a flyer. Yeah, see, Brianna knows that 410 exception is for those badass tiny Sicilian women cooking like beasts. Facts. Absolute fact. So this is just something I love. Like, I have that poster in the war room as well. And it just is a nice reminder. My great-grandmother was a veteran of the war and was very proud to march in the veterans parades and wore her uniform. And just as a strong, independent, bullheaded, stubborn fucking broad that I am, it's just a little reminder to, you know, keep my brain about me and remember the giants whose shoulders I'm standing on. And, you know, that I wouldn't be able to do what the hell I do. And, you know, women in general wouldn't be able to do what they do if it wasn't for women like this. I know this is British military, but just because it's the WAAF, I just always thought that was really cool. So that is my little retro war room artifact for you. And then I'm getting your drink recipe, which we do every night. The new American Bartender's Handbook. I picked this one because I never heard of it before. Have you guys ever heard of a Bonza Monza? Maybe if you're a bartender and you have this whole friggin' book memorized. A Bonza Monza is an ounce of vodka, 2/3 of an ounce of creme de cassis, 2 ounces of grapefruit juice. We don't get a lot of those drinks. Pour the ingredients in an old-fashioned glass full of the goat crushed ice and stir and serve. And that's called a Bonza Monza. Who knew? I didn't know. I picked that one because we don't get a lot of drinks with grapefruit juice. I'm a big fan of grapefruit juice. I love it. Not everybody does. And Eric, you're right. It had no dairy or eggs in it. I'm still amazed at how many drinks have dairy and or eggs in it. Gross. It is Anzac Day in Australia and New Zealand today, says Brandon. Well, there you go. Happy Anzac Day. And a Greyhound with Wednesday. Yeah. Oh, Roberto says Bonza Monza. That sounds like a good one. Totally, right? It sounds good, especially in the summertime, like a grapefruit juice drink, a little vodka in there. Al Dente says 17 parts Jameson, 3-part ice. Follow me for more great drink recipes. You guys are the best. So that's what's going on with me today. No more news, says Jesse. Nope, I have no more news for you. Brianna says, can you do a shout out to the Sheet Metal Workers Local 17 out of Dorchester for making and sending out metal nose pieces to all of us mask. I'm assuming mask wearing essential workers was the rest of your comment, but it got cut off and I can't read it. Jessie says, I love your dog Wednesday. Everybody's asking for her. She was already in here earlier and now she's napping because she was playing with the fucking stingray. Tanya says, you should do a video reading bedtime stories for kids. I would totally do that. Maybe I could do that on Instagram Live or something. I would totally do that. Maybe if it was like Samuel L. Jackson book, the Go the Fuck to Sleep one. Yeah, maybe. But I have twin nieces that are going to have a birthday next week. And I've been FaceTiming a lot with them. I sent them all whoopie pies, which I got pictures of them eating them because they live in Maryland. But I want them to have as much New England exposure as possible. So I sent them a big box of whoopie pies and they love them. So Auntie Win. And sometimes, well, I'll tell you the story quick. So because I don't have kids of my own, and my mom saved all of my childhood books for me that I was going to give to my kids if I ever had them. And that just wasn't meant to be. So when my twin nieces were born, I gave them all of my childhood books. And they have a little bookshelf in their house with Auntie Carrie's books in them. And when I go to Maryland to visit them, we have story time. And they go over to the bookshelves and they all pick one of Auntie Carrie's books from my childhood. And I read them to them. And it's just one of my favorite things in the whole world. Do you send them fluff too? Fucking A right, I do. Of course I do. So I just love going and visiting them and reading books to them. And what about reading bedtime readings for us drunk adults? I have a hard enough time reading the drink recipes because I'm here drinking with you. If I were reading them stories to little kids, I wouldn't be sitting here knocking back a double Moscow Mule right now. Nikki says, I also have twin nieces. They are the best. And my nieces are fraternal. So they are so different in every way, and yet they are amazing and so cute, and I miss them so much. I hate not being able to travel to go down and see them, but being able to FaceTime with them and, you know, send pictures, and we do Snapchat, like, filters and all of that kind of stuff, and it's been, that, you know, is something that I love that we do. You know, I'll get all these funny pictures. Oh, Zero and her best pal. Yes, I'm dog sitting Zero again. So Zero has her pal. Obviously, it's probably the UPS guy driving by because they both want to kick his ass. So it's been great. You know, that's one of the things that I look forward to. It's like I'm living through this phone in so many ways, especially keeping tabs on my little nieces and nephew. And they're just awesome. I love them so much. Suzanne says, Zero and Wednesday. Do they have purple hair? No, but they call me Auntie Purple Hair sometimes. And they draw pictures of me. When they were in school, they were drawing pictures of their auntie. And the teacher asked my sister-in-law about why they always draw Auntie with purple hair. And she was like, because Auntie has purple hair. So there you go. Where is Zero? Can we meet Zero? You guys have met Zero before. Wednesday, Zero. Come here. Hey, come here and say it. Wednesday just did a run through. She wanted to see why I was calling her. She saw I didn't have cookies. And she just ran by, looked at me and was like, deuces, biatch, and left. A dog named Zero. Yeah, it's from... Nightmare Before Christmas. That's the name of the ghost dog. Al says Wednesday sounds huge. Yeah, she's 16 pounds of pure fury and piss and vinegar. She just ran out of here. Zero, come here. Come here, Wednesday. Come say goodnight to everybody. Come here. What? Come here. Come say hi to everybody. Stop looking at me like that. I'm not crazy. Zero! Zero, come here! You can obviously tell, super obedient. No. All right, get ready to take your selfie. Don't forget, you got to tweet these pictures to me. turn one of your phones around. Obviously, you're watching this on a phone or whatever, and then get another phone from somebody else in the house and use it to take a picture. Come here. What's this? Come on. She's literally right there. Hey, come back over here. Come here and see me. What's this? I'm bribing her with my Moscow Mule right now. I'm not going to let her drink it. I just want her to be curious enough where she comes over. Come on, come up here. Come on. Come on. She's right there. She's just super unimpressed. Oh, there she is. All right. It's selfie time. Wednesday, are we going to take selfies with everybody? We're going to say goodnight to everybody? Come here. Say goodnight. Selfie. Can I have a kiss? Thank you. I know, so sleepy. It's been such an exciting day. Amy, she gives 0 fucks. Yeah, exactly. 0 fucks. Ready? All right, did you say goodnight? Say goodnight. Okay. Go find 0. 0 doesn't want to come. I don't know where she is. All right, guys, send me those pictures. Put them up on Instagram. Tag me at Mistress Carrie WAF. You can tag her, Wednesday the Goth Pug, on Instagram, and you can follow her for all of her ridiculousness on Instagram. Hey, get down. Now she wants my Moscow Mule because it's on the table. No, that's not for you. What, all of a sudden, you're not old enough. You're only 2. You can't drink booze. Kids, they grow up so fast. Or tweet the pictures to me on Twitter at Mistress Carrie. Thank you guys for joining me every night here in the War Room. People have been calling attention to the fact that there are a lot of people that are doing this kind of stuff now, that they're getting together on the internet for cocktails and drinks, and they're like doing this kind of stuff. I just want everybody to realize we've been doing this the longest. It's been, what, 5 or 6 weeks? Right, Wednesday? We're the OGs, man. Right? So we're obviously doing something cool if a bunch of other people are starting to do it. So, yes, I know, Eric, the pillows are still on the couch for now. She'll knock them all off by the end of the night. Trust me. All right, guys. The fame is getting to her head, said Jared. Seriously. What? What are you doing? Say goodnight to everybody, Wednesday. Say goodnight. Say bye. Keep your head up. Don't lick anything weird. Wash your damn hands. Good night, guys. Have a great night. Stay positive. Sleep good. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:30, right back here in the War Room. Big gig, April 24th, 2021, DCU Center. It's going to happen. We're going to have a great friggin' party, even if we got to wait a year for it.